Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam
Nirvignam
Kuru
kuru
Me
me deva
Deva Sarvakaryeshu
sarvakaryeshu sarvada
Sarvada Saraswati
saraswati
Namastubhyam
namostubhyam
Varade
varade
Kamarupini
kamarupini
Vidyarambham
vidyarambam
Karishyami
karishyami
Siddhir
siddhir
Bhavatu
bhavatu
Me
me
Sada
sada Guru
Gurur
Brahma
Brahma
Guru
Gurur
Vishnu
Vishnu Gurur
Guru Devo
Devo Maheshwaraha
Maheshwaraha
Guru
Guru
Sakshat
Sakshat Param
Param
Brahma
Brahma Tasmai
Tasmai
Shri
Shri Gurave
Gurave
Namaha.
Namaha Om
Om
Sahana
Sahana
Bhavatu
Vavadu Sahana
Sahano
Bhunaktu
Bhunaktu Sah
Sahaviryam
Viryam
Karavavahe
Karavavahe Tejasvina
Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma
Adhitamastu
Vidvishavahe.
Vidvishavahe Om
Om
Shanti
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 Shanti.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Athadvitiyodhyayaha
अथ तृतीयोऽध्यायः
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Up to the 26th shloka, we have seen Bhagavan said that Atma is not subject to destruction. Achedyaha adagyaha akledyaha ashosyaha nityaha sarvagataha stanuhu sanatanaha avyaktaha achintyaha avikaryaha. So the Atma is not subject to change. It cannot become an object of thought. It is Sat, on which all the asat Mithya is as dependency. Atma is independent. Sat. Asat is this Nama Rupatmaka Jagat, which undergoes change, but the Atma, which is the adhishtanam of everything, that doesn't undergo any change. Therefore, you are not destructible. I am not destructible. Bhishma is not destructible. Drona is not destructible. Their body, anyway, it is anatma, it will undergo destruction. Even if we don't destroy it, we don't kill it, it will get destroyed in time. So therefore, you cannot destroy Atma. You cannot prevent Anatma from being undergoing change. So therefore, there is no need for grief. Iti. Then he said, suppose if you say Atma as constant birth and death, atate chainam nityajatam, nityam va manese vratam iti, the previous shloka we saw. Then also you need not worry, because Atma has constant, continuous janma and marana. So comes and goes. It goes and comes. So that what you say, if that is your supposition, then also there is no need to worry. So continuing further, Bhagavan Krishna says, for the one who is born, there is death. And for the one who is gone, who is dead, there is birth, Janma again. Even in this sense, Krishna says here that there is no room for sorrow. So 27th shloka starts, let us read. Jatasya gidruho mrityuho.
जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः
Dhruvam, it is dhruvam. It's a typo. Dhruvam janma mritasya cha.
ध्रुवं जन्ममृतस्य च
Tasmadapariharyerthe.
तस्मादपरिहायेते
Natvam shochitum arhasi.
न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
Jatasya hi, that which is born. Mrityuhu maranam dhruvaha, certain. It cannot escape death. That which has come definitely will go, has to go. That is certain. He is Nishchayate. It is for sure. He, Jatasya hi, only that which is born will die. That which is not born cannot die because not born. Therefore, Atma is not born. Ajaha, therefore Amritam. Similarly, that which is dead, that which has gone. Mritasya cha janmaha janma dhruvam, not janmaha. Janma is Apumsakalinga. Mritasya janma dhruvam. Similarly, for the dead, janma is sure, certain. Dhruvaha, tasma, therefore, conclusion. Therefore, if the born is going to die, if the dead is going to come back in some other form, not the same form, going to come back means not as a ghost. Therefore, tam shochitam na harhasi, because this is not a pariharya vishaya, this cannot be changed. This is a fact. Since this is the fact, this is the fact of the world, therefore, since you cannot change it, in fact, shochitam arhasi, you ought not to grieve. You don't deserve to worry for this also. There being no possible alternative, one who is born will be gone. Krishna, Rama, and all the other avatars and prophets are all gone simply because they were born. But their janma is different. The avatara, the avatara janma is different from Jiva avatar, Jiva janma. Jiva is also in one way is avatara, but Ishvara coming down as an avatara, not because of Papa Punya. Therefore, that's why we call incarnation avatara. That's a different janma. But anyway, but they came and therefore they went, they are gone. Because they were born, therefore they are all gone. This statement would only have made Arjuna sadder because everyone he was concerned about had not been born. Sorry, had been born. Everyone he was concerned about had been born and therefore would die. Who are those concerned? This Drona and Bhishma. It was not that he wanted them to be eternal. He just wanted them to live a few more years. Why do you want them to live a few more years? Krishna may have asked, is there any guarantee that even if they live a little longer, you are also going to survive? This is your problem, Arjuna. So it's a fact. It's a logical question. There is an interesting story in the tradition about King Parikshit. About the king Parikshit that bears this out. A curse was placed on him that he would die in a week. He went to Vyasa's son Shuka, who was a jnani, and told him that he had only 1 week to live. In response, Shuka just laughed and said, why are you laughing? The king asked. I'm going to die in a week. Shuka then explained why he was laughing. You're lucky, he said. You say you are going to die in a week. This means that you know you are going to die, you're going to be alive for 7 days. Whereas I myself have no such guarantee. So the curse itself has become a sort of a prior information. That is, he will going to die in another 1 week's time. But nobody knows when will go. So in that way, Parikshit is blessed. So he has to do all his work. He has got time only 7 days, 1 week. So he has to do all his work 1 week and pack up and be ready. So therefore, at least he has got that prior information. But what about others? Even Shuka himself says, whereas I myself have no such guarantee how long I will live. So therefore, the significance of a lifetime. Arjuna could have died before any of the people for whom he was grieving. Possible in the war, it is possible. because he sent out his first shot. He could have had a heart attack and died, which is very common now. Anyone may die at any time. When death will come is anyone's guess. And in any case, no one is going to live for a very long. No one is going to live for very long anyway, especially when compared to the age of a rock, for example, which has been around for billions of years. If a rock had a tongue and a memory, it could tell many stories. It could derive human life and call us pygmies, call us all pygmies, recalling the days of dinosaurs or other huge mammals. These days, the rock would say, everything is so miniature in comparison, people and elephants alike. 50, 60, or 85 years of life is nothing. By the time we are 85, most of our cells are already gone, and the rest are old and worn out. They are unable to register anything new, and even what had registered previously doesn't come out, regardless of what we recall. Regardless of what recall button is pushed, nothing comes out. The floppy disk is all worn out. It was too flimsy to last very long anyway. What are a few more years? It is better to live only a few years with a floppy disk that works well, so that when you press the button, something happens. Even a vague answer that comes quickly is better than no answer at all. One thing is certain, a little earlier or a little later means nothing in the eternal flow of time. 100 years in this eternal flow is nothing. In spite of this, however, a human being still claims to have a biography. If we compare our lifespan to that of a rock, we will always have a freshness about ourselves. The calcium and the minerals in our bones definitely have a better story to tell. They at least have a story to tell. What story do we have? The body, therefore, is nothing but a few things brought together which necessarily fall apart again in a relatively short span of time. Another way of looking at the meaning of one's lifespan is with reference to a star. The star that we see tonight may be 200 light years away. The light we see left the star 200 years ago. During the time that it took the light to reach our eyes, the star may have died. This means the stars we see today may already be dead. Nothing travels as fast as light, as far we know. In fact, all our concepts of time are related to the speed of light. It seems to be the constant with which we measure motion and everything else. This is the nature of the world. And 100 years is nothing but a flicker in the eternal flow of time. We come like a flicker and go like a whimper. So life is a flicker. Life is like the flicker of a firefly. Flicker, gone. Flicker, gone. Flicker, then gone. Each birth and death represents one flicker. This flicker is our biography. We then divide into childhood, teenage, adulthood problems, and so on. One flicker is all we have, and within this, there are so many things we have to do. We have to celebrate, cry, marry, divorce, and retire also, all within this flicker, this beat. The one positive note here is that there is always another beep available for the dead also. Dead who, as we have seen, are born again and again. Maybe you will beep in heaven also. Therefore, slowly you may beep for some time until that too is over and the next beep occurs. Therefore, this life is but a flicker, a glow, and then it is gone. Krishna was saying that here that life follows a rule. If the born dies, the dead will certainly be born. Conversely, if the dead are born, the born will die, certainly die. These are two different points of view, the constant being the certainty. Therefore, what is there to cry about? With reference to a matter which cannot be altered, you don't qualify to be sad because you cannot bring about any change. If you could change this fact, it would be different, but you cannot. But Atma is always there and doesn't elicit any sorrow from you. For the Atma's sake, you need not be sad. Nor do you need to be sad for the Anatma's sake either. This line in the Gita is therefore a very important one in that it says, let me accept what I cannot change. The only alternative available is not to accept and to grieve. The point that Krishna is making here is that something that cannot be changed doesn't deserve any sorrow on your part. He emphasizes his point still further. The next shloka, let us read. Avyaktadini bhutani.
Avyaktani tini bhutani
Vyaktamadhyani Bharata.
व्यक्तमाद्यानि भारत
Avyaktanidhananyeva.
अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव
Tatra ka paridevana.
तत्र का परिदेवना.
Here, tatra ka paridevana. What is there to worry about? Tatra tasmin vishaye Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata. All beings, they are unmanifest in the beginning. Then it is vyaktam in the middle. Again goes back to unmanifest. Avyakta nidhanani eva. So adini avyaktani, madhyani madhye vyaktani bhavanti. Then after death, again goes to avyakta nidhanani. All beings are manifest in the beginning, manifest in the middle, and again unmanifest in the end. What indeed is there to grieve about, O Bharata? The beginnings of all living beings, including the elements themselves, are all unknown. They are not available for perception. We do not know what they were before or what happens to them after death. We don't see the soul leaving the body, despite claims to the contrary. In fact, after death, we don't know what happens. We don't see traveling souls, which is just as well. If we did, we would probably close them back, promising to treat them better and so on, even when they don't want to return. If we had our way, we would quite likely push these souls back into their bodies and then afterwards quarrel with them as before. Perhaps it is to avoid such problems that we do not know what happens after death. We only know what is between birth and death. Even there is something like a traveling arrow. It emerges from darkness, avyakta, passes through a lighted area, vyakta, and disappears into the darkness again, avyakta. It is not known before and it is not known later. In between, it dazzles in light. This is all this life is about. This beep, the glow, the flicker that we call life. Before the glow or flicker, we don't see the glowworm or the firefly. In fact, we never see it. We only see the light. And after the light has gone, again we see nothing. Since life is like a moving arrow traveling between birth and death, what is there to talk about? It is not even something that is staggered. It is just passing, always moving. Why the lamentation for this moving arrow? Cannot stop it anyway. In this glow, what is there to retain? That which is always eternal is always there. And in between, there is some kind of life, mithya. The question then is, what is there to lament about? If there is something that is always there, and that thing has a problem, then it can be lamented about. However, what is not subject to lamentation. It is the reality, the truth, satyam, and it is limitless ananda. Therefore, it is not subject to lamentation at all. Whatever else may be there is also not worth lamenting about. Then why do people lament? But people do lament. Even though life is just a beep in the eternal flow of time, they do have problems. They're concerned about the childhood, the marriage, old age, retirement, and what will happen to them after retirement. Within this one beep, all these divisions are made. People continue to lament only because of ajnanam, self-ignorance. And this ignorance remains because there is no means of knowledge for knowing the self. The orientation of the individual is, I am small, I am a nobody. Even those who claim to know that, those who call themselves saviors and who say that you must be saved, confirm that the Atma is a small, subject to sin and so on. The word also confirms these notions by its very dimensions and its overwhelming strength. Because you have a particular dimension and limited powers, you find that you are helpless against bugs and certain other forces that are so overwhelmingly strong. You always find that you have to conform to these forces. Against them, you always feel that you are nobody. Thus, everything confirms my notion that I am small, and this conclusion about the I is the problem. So, introducing the next verse, Shankaracharya agreed with what Krishna has said, that the Atma is not easily understood. Arjuna is not the only one who laments, he is not the only person subject to sorrow. The sorrow is universal. The significance of Shankaracharya's commentary. Because we will be drawing on Shankaracharya's commentary throughout our study of the Gita, a brief explanation on the place commentaries hold in the beginning, in the teaching tradition is in order here. The word Bhashya refers to a commentary of an original work. Gita is an original work, and therefore Shankaracharya's commentary of it is a Bhashya. For a work to be original in our context, it must have the status of a scripture or Shruti, meaning the Upanishads. If the Gita did not have the status of Shruti, any commentary of it would be called only a Vyakhyana. But Shankaracharya's commentary is not a Vyakhyana, it is a Bhashyam. Because the Gita has the status of the original work, any commentary on the Upanishads themselves, of course, is a Bhashya, because the Upanishads are Shruti, providing what has been written is something more than the simple meaning of the verses. A commentary becomes a Bhashyam when it gives a meaning and also defends the meaning that is given. The person who has written a Bhashyam is called Bhashyakara. Tikakara refers to a person who has written explanatory notes, tika for a bhashya. These notes serve to introduce a topic by explaining the sentences of the bhashyam or a particular word in a sentence. A tika is not an independent work because it follows the bhashya line by line, sentence by sentence. There is another type of work called vartika, which is an independent exposition in verse form on the bhashya itself, not on the original. A vartika is not a tika because it either goes beyond the Bhashya or it is a further explanation of the Bhashya. The person who writes a Vartika is called Vartikakara. There is a tradition, a Sampradaya, in which certain people are recognized according to these categories. In Vedanta, by Vartikakara, for instance, we mean the oldest of Bhashyakara's 4 disciples, Sureshwaracharya. Again, when we say Bhashyakara, we mean Shankaracharya. Patanjali also is known as Mahavashikara, Bhashyakara, Mahavashikara. Mahavashya being the commentary on the sutras of Panini and grammar. It is a Vyakarana Sutra, Shastra, Vyakarana Sutras. Tikakara generally refers in this tradition to Anandagiri, who wrote a Tika for all of Shankaracharya's commentaries. There are many Tikakaras. Anyone who comments upon the Bhashya, sentence after sentence, as a traditional teacher does, becomes a Tikakara. Knowing then that the words Bhashyakara and Bhashya refers to Shankaracharya and Shankaracharya's commentaries respectively, we can proceed. That's next shloka. So many places, Swamiji, here in this book, which is the explanation of the Shankaracharya's commentary. Therefore, what is a Bhashyam, who is a Bhashyakara, Tikakara, Athikara, to be understood. Everything has a definition. Sutram has a definition. Bhashyam has a definition. Vartikam has a definition. Yata, Alpaksharam, Asandigdam, Sutram. Shastrato varnyate, yatra vakya sutra anukari. Swapadani varnyante, Bhashyam, Bhashyavido, Viduku. Shloka for what a Bhashyam is. So we have a definition shloka. Shloka defining what is a Bhashyam, what is a Sutram. Okay, now we will continue the next shloka. Another shloka, important shloka, which is in Trishtup Chandas, Trishtup meter. There also typo is there. We can read the English transliteration. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidedam.
Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam.
Ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyaha.
Ascharyavat vadati taiva chanyaha.
Ascharyavat chainamanya shrunoti.
Ascharyavat manya shrunoti.
Shrutvapenam vedana chaiva kaschit.
Shrutvapenam vedana chaiva kaschid.
Kaschit. Kaschit means someone. Ascharyavat. Ascharyavat means but as a wonder. Pashyati. Ascharyavat vadati. Ascharyavat shrunoti. Shrutva api. Na Veda. That is, the Atma, this Pashyati Kaschit Enam. Enam referred to Kaschit Enam, Enam Atmanam, Kaschit Ascharyavat Pashyati. One looks upon this Atma as a wonder, Ascharya, wonder. Kaschit Ascharyavat Vadati. One talks of this Atma as a wonder. Ascharyavat Anyava Shnoti. Another one hears of this Atma as a wonder. Still others, another person, Kaschit is another, still another one, even after hearing, Shrutvapi doesn't understand at all. Na Veda. So this Atma is difficult to understand. Turvijnaya, that is what is presented, mentioned in this shloka. One looks upon the self is Atma, as a wonder. Ascharyavat. Similarly, Tatha, another one, Kaschit, Vadati, as a wonder, speaks of it as a wonder. Another one, Srinoti, hears this Atma as a wonder. Still another, even after hearing about this Atma, doesn't understand it all. Na Veda doesn't understand it at all. Shankaracharya begins his Bhashya on this verse by saying that with the Atma under discussion, Prakrita Atma, Prakrita meaning that which is under discussion. Prakrita Atma is not easy to understand. Durvignayaha, Dukkena Jnatum, Shakyaha, Yogyaha, Durvignayaha, that which is difficult to understand, difficult to comprehend. The word Prakrita is a technical term, meaning the topic, the discussion, which is Atma here. The pronoun Enam means Prakrita topic, which is Atma, Atmanam. Enam Atmanam, Kaschit Ascharyavat Pashyati, Kaschit Ascharyavat Vadati, Kaschit Ascharyavat Shrunoti, Shrutva api na Veda. Although one has to recognize Atma as Brahma, it is not easy, and therefore not everyone comprehends it, understands it. The cause for this confusion, Bhranti, between Atma and Anatma being universal, it is Sadharana. Everyone is to be sympathized with. No one is an exception. Arjuna was not the only lamenting, not the only one lamenting his Lord. Knowing this makes us believe that we are in good company. Modern group therapy does the same thing. You may start off thinking that you are the only one with a particular problem, but when you participate in group therapy, you discover that everyone is undergoing the same experience. Then you realize you are not alone, that many people have the same problem for which there is a cause. In the beginning, then there is validation, which is a good thing. Here too, Arjuna was given a boost. It was as though Krishna was saying, you are not the only one lamenting. Hey, Arjuna, everyone has the same problem because Ajnanam is common to all. It is not the personal problem of any one person. Ignorance of Atma is universal, common to all, and remains so because Atma is not easily understood. This verse explains why Atma is so difficult to understand. Therefore, the wonder of Atma. Atma is always a wonder. Ascharyavat. When you understand Atma, it is a wonder. When you don't understand, it is a wonder to you how anyone can understand it. This wonder takes several forms. Atma is something never seen before, Adrishta, Purva, something that appears all of a sudden to one who has been taught by a guru, something that is striking. The student understands and looks at the Atma as a wonder. Ascharyavat Pashyati. Why? Because he or she now looks at himself or herself as a wonder. When he suddenly discovers that I am the whole and everything is centered on me, everything is me, it is definitely a wonder. First, this reality of oneself seems to be an impossibility, then becomes a vague possibility, and finally, it is real, true. Anything that is experienced by me is myself. I am all the sounds, I am all the forms and colors, I am all the smells and sources of smell, and I am all the tastes and sources of taste. Not only am I the food, I am also the one who eats the food. Otherwise, I would be eaten up. I'm even the one who made the Vedas. I'm not merely a reader of the Vedas, I'm its author. I am the one to be understood by the means of the Vedas. I am the one who is Lord Brahma, the creator, or the entire cosmos. Previously, we thought that we were under the rule of the ruler, whose law is the rule of Dharma. For every eon, Kalpa, there is said to be one such ruler. Thus, we are presently under Vaivasvata Manu's law. This Mano is a son of Lord Surya. We have been under the ambit of this law. But now, having understood Atma, we say, I am Manuhu, Aham Manuhu. Anyone who was there in the past was me, and in the future, anyone who is going to be there is me. Anything that is here now is also me. This is entirely a wonder, because previously we could never have believed that we were everything, and the truth of the whole creation. The opposite definitely seemed to be the case. This very vision, darshana of the Atma, the knowledge of Atma is a wonder, Ascharya, Ascharya Vishaya. And when we listen, Shravanam, listen to the explanation of this Atma, it is another wonder. To hear that you are the truth of everything, Satyam, the source of all happiness, anyone's happiness, Param Brahm, is a wonder. Every creature in the world picks up small flakes of happiness, Ananda, all of which are from the original mountain or the ocean of Ananda, which is you. Thus, when the teacher talks about the Atma, he or she describes it as a wonder. Ascharyavat, Anyaha Enam Vadati, who speaks, teacher speaks. Ascharyavat Vadati, Shishya Ascharyavat Shunoti. Atma is a wonder all the way. It is Satchit Ananda, and at the same time, it has created this entire world without undergoing any change. Talking about Atma is itself as a wonder, because we are talking about something which is not available for words, not available for objectification of the words. That it is infinite and appears as though finite, without undergoing any change, without assuming any particular Namarupa, is a wonder. All the Namarupas are Brahma alone, and that Brahma is you, the Atma. If the teacher can talk like this and get away with it, it's definitely yet another wonder. And after listening to the teacher, the students also talk among themselves about what a wondrous thing that the Atma is. About everything about Atma is, it's a wonder. Lastly, it is a wonder that it cannot be understood even after having heard about it. Shutva api enam vedanat eva kaschat. Just as a very subtle joke is not understood, people don't understand Atma at all. It has to be explained to them. Brahma appearing as a jiva, the bondage for the jiva, and the freedom from the bondage, moksha, are all nothing but a big joke, the greatest joke ever, in fact. Therefore, life itself is a joke, as can be seen by analyzing one thing. We'll stop here, we'll continue in the next class. Life is like a very subtle joke. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
धन्यवादः.
धन्यवादः.